Provence is all about the sun, the sea that's never far away, the great weather, the art of living, the vines, the olive trees. They're all magic places.
An olive tree is a bit like a friend that you keep your entire lifetime. Some say when you plant an olive tree, you're planting it for 1,000 years.
At the southern tip of Provence, at the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, sits the Château Léoube, a special plot of land where two age-old liquids are produced, olive oil and wine. This morning in the wine cellars, it's time to carry out an essential little task, the draining off of the unwanted dregs.
So here we're tasting a 2015 rosé which has just finished fermenting. We're at the stage in production that we call the racking, where we separate the clear wine from the residue at the bottom of the barrel. The clear wine is then poured into another barrel where it will continue to settle, and we repeat the whole operation until the wine is then bottled. This one is a blend of Grenache and Cinsault, which are the two varieties that form the base of our rosés.
Romainot is both the nose and the palate of the company. This year's harvest has been a good one.
We're on a plot of Grenache which makes stronger and more structured wines. It brings fullness, and when it's blended with other varieties of grape, it makes very balanced wines. There's a whole range of soils in Provence, each with their own particularities, and each one works better with a specific grape to make mainly rosés, but also whites and reds.
It's in the autumn, though, that the chateau harvests its richest treasures. By September, all the grapes have been picked from the vines, but 2 months later, the olive trees begin to bear their fruit. 13 pairs of hands are needed to pluck the 6,000 trees, and the harvest takes 3 weeks to complete. This morning, it's time to pick the Frantoio, a little Italian olive that's packed full of fruity flavours.
You can see here that the olives are starting to fall. When they fall, it means they're at their very ripest. It's a very good harvest of olives with green ones from the same tree, some mixed ones like these here, which are half green, half black. And then we have these ones, which are really very ripe, the more black olives like these. We're able to tell just by pressing them. You can see that it shines and that my hands are full of oil. You can just imagine that oil on a salad or on some tomatoes. It's perfect. We can now begin to say that this is the right moment to harvest.
A dozen or so different varieties of olive are grown on the land here. The quality of the soil in this region is exceptional.
The land we have here is very specific to this region, and especially here where we have a good dose of clay. And then there is the shale that you see here in the form of rocks like here, and again here. There we have some white quartz, which means that our earth stays in place on a terrain that's fairly sloped. And it also means that the water drains well and doesn't run off and furrow the land here.
Once harvested, the leaves are picked off the olives before they're carried back to the mill. Château Léoube picks nearly 3 tons of them by day throughout the harvest period.
There we are. All done and dusted.
At the Moulin de Haut-Jasson, the olives are first washed before being crushed and beaten. 8 kilos of olives are needed to obtain each litre of this golden elixir. But in order for the olive oil to release all its flavours, it needs a little rest. It sits for 2.5 months so that it clarifies. And just as he creates his wines, Romainot is also careful to devise his oils. Each year he blends different varieties to create just one oil with a unique taste. Romain is at once a master wine and a master olive oil producer.
When you first look at them, you might think they're just olive oils, but when you try them, they have a whole different taste. They each bring a different sensation in your mouth, be it more oily or more rounded. For example, here with the Frantoio, it's a little more oily, a little more artichoke, a bit greener, so it's good. On its own, it's a bit too heavy, but when it's blended with something else, it will really work well.
To find the right formula, in total he'll blend 6 oils to create the Château Léoube 2015 vintage.
There's this moment when you say, yes, this is the one, because it's balanced, it's pleasant and it's fragrant. Olive oil can be used on its own on a piece of bread, and to finish a meal it's perhaps the best way to wipe your plate, even if it's not very polite.